Thank you for watching the Choice versus Circumstance podcast. Please follow, like, and subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram for more content.
I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues. Told him that I gotta go, dog. I'm riding the road, y'all. I think that I'm back in my bag now. So I need that go, y'all. Got hits when he throwing the fastball. Just too quick for it, peeling off like the whip orange. Seen they effort, this piss poor. I got too much I gotta tend to. Car payments and the rent due. Told y'all that I'm 6 foot, but with the money statement I'm 10-2. Too much that I've been through, so I put it all in that rear view. Clean money in a black whip, got old problems with the friends new. Yeah, I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. Yeah, I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, told him I'ma hit it out the stands. I deserve another 100 bands. I deserve another 100 fans.
Got a question. Have you ever asked yourself, which parts of your life were made by choice and which were circumstance?
Oh, shoot. I don't think an hour is long enough. Cool.
We'll see what happens. All right, what's good, y'all? My mama named me Andrew, but I go by DJ Choice Beats. And welcome to another episode of Choice versus Circumstance. And you know, I'm not gonna waste no time getting to my special guest today. It's this is one of those ones that you never know if you can have a conversation because I'm just proud of the guy. You know, he's been a friend of mine for a long time. Somebody that I see as a brother, somebody that, you know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be around. We'll get to the accolades. We'll go down it. We'll talk about it. He's got a lot going on in his life, and I appreciate him taking some time out. But I know him as D Woo, but everybody else knows him as Mr. Dustin Michael Woods, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it from my guy today.
I appreciate you having me, man. This is great. I'm excited for this. I'm a little nervous because I know where our conversations go.
You know what? You know what's crazy? This year is about me controlling the narrative, and you know, for all those who watch episodes, you'll hear me say it a lot. And you know, our conversations have always been, you know, me and you. You know what I'm saying? But like this year, I've been working on being vulnerable and being out there and stuff like that. So, you know, you never know. It could go a little bit further than how most of them go. You know what I'm saying? So
I like that.
Yeah, man.
And we all got to try to do better in our own life, man. So that's great.
Yeah, you know, I'm working on it, and you know, and sometimes it means taking the people that have been there the whole time and wrapping them into it at the same time too. So, you know, it's good for everybody all around. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. So before we get any further, we got to start with you. We got to start with the most important thing, I think, is in everybody's personal journey and everybody's personal walk, you know, the wellness trinity. You know, how are you? Physically, mentally, emotionally. You can say as much as you want to. You can be detailed, you can be general, but you know, what's your wellness trinity looking like right now?
I'm gonna be general because I know we're gonna get deep, and I'm usually a very open book. I'm known to be very interpersonal, very fast. I think it's a flaw, but also a strength of mine. It's got me a long way, but sometimes I gotta, you know, pump them brakes.
Don't start. Listen. I didn't even remember all. You know what? We can talk about that later.
My fault.
Pump your brakes and get back to the topic at hand.
I'm great today. Getting on the phone with you, man. You always bring a smile on my face, so I feel good today. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's been kind of a interesting month for me because I had a good change at work. Like I work for the Philadelphia Eagles, but kind of elevated to this position where I take care of a particular athlete, probably you could say he's the most important athlete on our team. Spent a month with him during the off season. And it was great. It was good, but I'm away from my family for a month. So that's always hard for me. Those 3 little ones, man, the apple of my eye, and then my wife, who's been with me since I was 14. So never easy being away from them. And then physically, man, when I got home, the time change hit me. Our entire house got sick. I'm still kind of dealing with like a little stomach bug. So physically, I'm not in the best place. And then, even we talking about on the long run, I'm 37 now, and I played football, did all that. I'm in my field, like I'm always working out. That's what I do for my field. But my body just don't feel as good as you would think that somebody who works out 5 times a week, eats healthy. I would think that I feel a whole lot better, but I just simply don't. So that's the reality, is my body's not great. My body might look okay, but I don't feel great emotionally. Man, I'm in a season right now, like I said, on the outside, it always looks great. And it is great. I'm very grateful. But everybody has battles that you fight, whether it's from circumstances or from self-sabotage or from luck of the draw, whatever it might be. Things that come your way to challenge you, to grow you. And there's always, like I said, open book. I'm always going to be open about it. People are always struggling emotionally, but there's multiple ways you can attack it. There's multiple ways that you can, some people say react or respond. Not that easy, but I'm in a place where I think emotional intelligence has been on my mind for the last 5 years. And that's helped me kind of create a perspective that kind of allows me to understand what to do with the emotions, as opposed to just let the emotions control what I do. You know what I'm saying? So emotionally, I'm being challenged, but I'm in a good place because I let those challenges, those emotions, kind of help me control my narrative and challenge me in what I'm going to do and how I'm going to pursue really just literally my next step. Because I think that we allow our emotions to often create our next 50, 60, 70 steps, and we start making permanent decisions on seasons that are very temporary. And those will do that to us, right? We'll make these permanent decisions, make all these steps based on the emotion that we had, whether it's good or bad. And then we find ourselves looking back like, why did this? What did I do? Why did I not do this? So like I said, again, emotionally, I'm in a great place because I'm being challenged, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean everything is rainbows and butterflies. Although on the outside, somebody might be like, man, he's got it. He got everything, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's kind of been my life. But I just now became comfortable being able to express like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not okay. I need somebody to talk to. I need a brother. I need to get deeper in my conversation with my wife, you know what I'm saying? Little things like that. So yeah, that's how I'm doing.
That's a lot. That's a lot of heavy information. But at the same time, you said you was going to keep it general, and that was the most detailed, general answer you could give. And like, you know what? That's okay.
I had somebody. Actually, I had somebody tell me, man, like, you kind of like to talk. And I was like, dang, you're the first person that ever said that, because typically I'm a quiet, shy person. But maybe I'm not that way anymore. But it's, when I'm speaking about something that I'm passionate about, or what I did find out is I'm a lover of being understood, you know what I'm saying? Or not me being understood, but clarity. So if I don't feel like something is clear, I'm going to ask questions. Or if I don't feel like I'm being clear, I'm going to keep on talking.
That's perfectly fine. And honestly, I don't think that's a thing that's of now. I know you a lot better than whoever's watching right now, but you've always been that way. And I think it's just, as you grow and as you age, like, it's just, you're getting more in tune with it. So it's nothing new. It's definitely nothing new.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's talk, man. What's up?
Nah, man, I'm supposed to ask how you doing. Can I ask how you doing?
I mean, you can ask whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple things to talk about, but you know, you can ask whatever you want, man. We can talk about me for a little bit.
It's your narrative. Yeah, I want to know how you doing, man. I know you had some changes. You know what I'm saying? I just want to, in general, keep it real general.
No, I mean,
hit me up.
You know, one of the things about controlling the narrative and being more vulnerable this year and like, you know, speaking out more is, and part of why I'm doing this is because I've kept a lot inside for a long time, you know, and, you know, Choice being part of my name, but Choice being part of the name of the podcast, it's not supposed to be about me. You know what I'm saying? It's literally what it means, choice versus circumstance. But that being said, I hid behind the name Choice and Choice Beats for a long time. And I always said, everybody loves Choice, but nobody knows Andrew. And I'm a little bit too old at this point in time. I'm 37 as well, you know, to hide behind that facade. And I'm getting to a point where I didn't know myself anymore or couldn't even explain that. So a lot of this is, you know, about, you know, getting back to grassroots and putting 10 toes down and, you know, being myself. So like everybody else, we got struggles. You know, on paper, it might look better for you and you got your struggles. My paper looks a little more transparent, you know, because I carry it a lot. But I'm getting better about it and not feeling bad about it, you know. So it's been good. It's been real good. And you know, once again, I want to thank you for being here and, you know, asking those questions because for those of y'all that don't know, I've known this man since I was 12 years old. And these are the conversations that we had growing up all the way till now. So this is nothing new for us. Before I pushed record, he said, you know, an hour might not be enough. And, you know, that might be real, you know, but I'm here to talk to you because my concept, like I said, I don't fangirl over celebrities. I said on one of my other episodes, if I met The Rock, John Cena, somebody like that, I love WWE, maybe I might go crazy. Love WrestleMania. I love it all. But the people I care about and the people that, you know, that I fangirl over are the people I know that are doing it. And I'm fortunate enough to be around. So this is actually kind of a blessing and a shout out to the people that I'm going to be talking to, you know?
Yeah.
So that being said, do you remember the first time we met?
I don't remember the first time we met, but I remember the first time I saw you. This is when you put up the picture of Jordan from the Bernie Mac show.
Uncle Bernie.
Yeah, you put little Jordan up there. I don't know his real name, something Suarez or something, but that was you when I saw you with the sweater vest in church.
You know, it wasn't even a sweater vest. I think it was like a turtleneck sweater, actually.
I don't know.
It might have been a sweater vest. I don't know, but it was a sweater of some type.
Yeah, I think it was the vest. And because I used to rock the vest too, but I wasn't that skinny. But that I first saw you, and then the next thing I know, you were snapping my headband back.
That was years apart. That was
you never remember how you really meet your best friends, man. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I never really had the experience where it's like.
Well, I'm asking because I remember. Exactly. I had just moved from Rhode Island to Ohio, and we're going to church, and everybody was all clicked up and whatnot, and you know, nobody was really talking to me, being the new guy, whatever. I was sitting by myself, and you came and just sat next to me and looked at me like, "You know my name?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's my name?" I was like, "I don't know." "I'm Dustin. What's your name?" "I'm Andrew." And that was it.
That's it. Man.
Like you was one of the coolest. Everybody wanted to be around, but like you still took time out for any and everybody. You know what I'm saying? And that's what drew me to you, was that the humbleness, even though, and like I said, we'll get into all the accolades later, but like even though you were doing things that people dream of, and to this day, like you said, on paper it looks great. You know, the lives that people might want to have, but then you also cycle back and say you ain't seen your family in a while and stuff. Like it's all hard work and it's all struggle. You know what I mean? So I want to say I was in like 7th grade. You might have been in the 8th, but like you went to one of the most prestigious schools in the Cincinnati area, playing sports and being a great academic student. You probably could have did whatever you wanted to, and I'd say seeing you play baseball was probably your best sport. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Had my best. If I had my best football game or my best baseball game, baseball for sure.
But you was also 5'9", playing basketball, dunking on people.
I ain't never dunked on somebody. I just dunked on the 10-foot rim.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
I want that.
But I mean, I ain't trying to hype it, but I mean, like, you're just, physically, athletically gifted and whatnot, and you didn't even start playing football until you was a junior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
They had you at receiver, had you at safety, and I think one of the games I came to, I think you got an interception and ran it back, or like a punt return and ran it back and scored a touchdown receiving. Ended up being in the Hall of Fame at your high school, Purcell Marion. Same school that, Roger Staubach?
Roger Staubach.
Yeah, same high school he went to. Tell me what it was like being in high school and being that athlete and, like, keeping that humbleness, because, like, sometimes you got to try for that, but, like, it seemed to come natural to you. Like, what was it like being in high school, being that, like, that top tier athlete?
Like, sports has always been a part of my family, and all of us were really, really good athletes. To this day, even if you were at the Hall of Fame speech, it came from the heart. I mean, I wrote it all down, but I will always give all the praise to my entire family for who I am, bits and pieces, every single one of them, from my mom, my dad for sure, obviously, but my sister Tiffany, who's passed, and it's, everybody from the top down. I'm the youngest of 5. So each one of them had a positive effect on me as a person and me as an athlete. Those two things that got me to where I am today, character and, athletic ability, whatever it might be, in the mesh between, and obviously my faith above all of that. But really, man, it was my family that kept me grounded, and I just never lost sight, because they not only developed me in whatever way, because remember, I'm playing varsity, and my brother, who's older than me, I'm playing as a freshman, he's older than me, he's on the bench, right? And he never showed any kind of animosity, whatever it might be. And then we played baseball together, which was a dream of mine. I try to tell him that all the time, but I see him as, one of my best friends, my leader in life, you know what I'm saying? And never had any animosity. My sister, twin sister, always kind of like competing, whatever it is. And then my older brother, like Scott, who was around a bunch, he was my trainer, he was my motivation, he was my biggest fan, biggest supporter. He was the one who was vocal for me, because I wasn't a vocal person, talking smack for me, you know what I'm saying? So it was really because of them. Like, that celebration of me being in the Hall of Fame was a celebration of my family. You know what I'm saying? Out of me, I just happen to be the physical embodiment of all of them. You know what I'm saying? And was able to stay healthy, stay out of trouble, whatever it might be. I just was literally the physical embodiment of all of them. So that was an award that I hope all of them felt a part of. And I tried to make that so in my speech by speaking about each and every one of them individually. But I would say, man, what keep me grounded, like, yeah, I was a great athlete, and I was a good athlete for sure. I don't realize until now how fast I was, and that's a God-given thing that I did start to work at too. And this is not me bragging, but I've been clocked at a 4.27 40-yard dash in college. Not at the right time, obviously, but I was very fast, so that made me really good in all these other sports. And I was a good athlete, could catch, all that. But what kept me grounded, man? Obviously my faith for sure. But one thing a lot of people don't know, and I'll talk about this publicly now, is that, like, man, when I tested into that school, Purcell Marion private school, I tested into like remedial classes, right? We went to school in the hood at Roseline, not great teachers. And I tested into remedial classes. That means, like, I'm in with like the The slow kids, right? But me knowing, like, I'm not, but that was not me. Like, I'm not slow. I was actually a smart kid, but I just didn't test well, right? And I was not bad. But I mean, going through school, I was C's and B's, you know what I'm saying? Not A's, but I did not test well. So when I tested to go to this school, I know I failed miserably, which means I was in that school. So in that class. So like that put a sense of like insecurity in me that that I know didn't allow me to be this like super arrogant person who had everything put together. You know what I'm saying? That was like that really kept me grounded for sure. You know what I'm saying?
What's crazy about that, like knowing you personally and like spending a lot of time with you, like you said, like you're not slow, you're not dumb, very articulate, very clever, very witty. And maybe that comes into, you know, like the public school systems, or maybe that comes into, you know, you got the sliding scale and all these other type things and stuff like that. Well, he's a good athlete. We ain't got to worry about it. You know, like,
yeah,
maybe I don't want to blame it on nobody, but at the same time, you know, you move forward from there. You know, you go through high school. You know, won a state championship. Your junior year in baseball?
Junior year.
You know, got very close your senior year, and then here come the college just knocking. You know, if I remember correctly, you were drafted by the Cubs.
Nah, that was my boy, but I did not. And this so I had a good friend who got drafted by the Cubs, and another one that got drafted by the Phillies that played on my summer league teams. One of them ended up being an MLB All-Star. But what happened with me was I was too young to get drafted, and we didn't know. We had to sign papers, release form papers, to be able to be eligible for the draft. But I was projected to be drafted out of high school for baseball. We had a kid on my school team get drafted, and he wasn't even a starter. So that's the kind of competition we played. That's how good my high school team was. And we actually had a lot of black kids on our team. We only had 2 white starters on our team, which was unbelievable at a private school.
Is it your birthday? What's going on here? You pushing buttons?
Maybe they celebrating the fact there was only 2 white dudes on the
white people, yay!
Nah, but so that's the kind of competition we were playing in, right? Like we had a kid on our high school team who got drafted who wasn't even one of our starters, right? So for me, great in baseball because of speed and all that, but I thought I was going to get drafted and maybe that was going to be the route that I went. But because I didn't sign my papers, which none of us knew we had to, the draft was over and we're all kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. So that's when the panic for football happened because we thought we were going to go the baseball route. And then I never signed a letter of intent for any of the big schools. You know, Kentucky, Maryland, Duke was all on my list, my top list to go there to play receiver. But we waited so long, the letter of intent expired. They already signed everybody because we thought we was going to do baseball. And you can see how I'm saying we because it always involved.
It was a family thing, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that didn't happen. Good old Miami. And then Kentucky wanted to send me to prep school again because I was young. They could capitalize on that. And then Miami of Ohio came and was like, man, you can go to school in January. We'll get you started right now. And they're right up the street. Ben Roethlisberger was there. They were 12th in the nation when I signed that letter of intent. They had a great year. And that's why I ended up going to Miami just by circumstance. Like we thought something was going to be. We were not educated on my age and that I was not eligible because I was not of age. And then at least at that time, that fell through. So luckily, you know, they came up and then once we get to the further part of the story, you see how that kind of worked out for my good going to Miami of Ohio as opposed to anywhere else.
Well, let's cycle back to that though. If I remember correctly, there was one other school, I think it was it UC that wanted you real bad, but they wanted you to switch to defense.
That was UK.
That was UK. They wanted you to play DB.
Yeah, UK was actually my very first offer. So that's an SEC school, and that was before I even played a varsity game. I went down there for a camp that my school went to for free. It was like 20 of us kids, from Purcell. I ran a 40, and they came and talked to me. They had me race, their fastest player, and I burnt him. Humbly, I burnt him, and then they gave me a letter. They got my information, and they sent a scholarship letter in the mail, which when I opened it, I didn't even know what it was. I had to call my dad and my brother to see, to pretty much tell me what it was, because I didn't.
Right. Is this legit?
Yeah. So so after that, all the offers just started coming in because the SEC school offered this local kid. You know what I mean? So I came down to Kentucky, which wanted me to play defensive back, which my accolades were not a defensive back. And to be honest, I wasn't trying to hit nobody. I was playing defense in high school, but I was getting picks like baseball. I was out in center field just picking. Right. But I remember I went to a UK game, UK versus, I don't know if it was Florida or whoever it is, on a visit. And I saw these running backs, and I'm like, man, ain't no way I'm about to try to tackle this dude coming downhill. He 230 pounds, man. I'm 175 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Play defense. Like, nah. So, but they wanted me, they did want me pretty bad. They offered to send me to prep school and do all that stuff and then come to school the next year. Miami was like, nah, we want you right now. We want you on campus now, and we'll make it work. We want you to play receiver. And there's an important guy that I met there. It wasn't Ben Roethlisberger, but his name is Sean McVay. And we had a good relationship. And next thing you know, fast forward, and he becomes the head coach for the Los Angeles Rams.
We're gonna rewind a little bit because we're gonna get to LA. You jumping over countries, you jumping over accolades before we even get to LA. Yeah. Let's talk about the fact that you're one of maybe 4 people I know personally that married their high school sweetheart.
Wonderful.
And, y'all didn't go to school together, but like we was all in the same youth group and whatnot. And, seeing you as my best friend, one of my bandmates, we were in a band together and stuff. I was so salty. I was like, I ain't gonna see dude no more. But also being a groomsman in your wedding, watching the ups and downs, there's always been, even before you guys got engaged, got married, there was a covert operation that I will not go into detail about.
She so don't matter.
Well, let's just say PF Chang's in the movie was involved. But yeah, man. So she went to O State, you went to Miami, and keeping that together, and then y'all finally get married. After you leave Miami, there's a couple injuries. I know you had a shoulder thing, you had a wrist thing. Being a captain, 3-year starter. The draft should be coming and knocking at your door, getting an agent and whatnot. When that falls through, like, talk about the process of, having that degree and, I don't want to say falling back on it, but, having options.
Yeah, options are big, man. Options are big, whether or not you're good enough or not, because it perceives how somebody looks at you. If you don't have options, people feel like they can pin you down. They feel like they got to be a father figure. They feel like they got to be something to you or can be something to you, control a certain aspect. But when you have options, you have freedom, right? So having that degree at a really good school, like I said, remember, I started remedial classes. I went to my known as a public Ivy League school, and I held a 3.0 down there. You know what I'm saying? Held a 3.0. It was all about confidence and getting over that, that 1 mile marker where once you know you could do it, you do it. And so when that fell through, the option and knowing that, like, okay, I'm not just football, that didn't really set in until I was well into my career. I still felt like, man, I could play with these dudes, because I was in it, and I was working with the Bengals for a little bit, and I was like, man, I could have been playing here. I could have been doing this, doing that. But looking at my situation, I made the decision early to not chase the dream, because I was married. I got married to Elise when I still had 1 more year of football left. which put me in a very unique situation. But what that did in the eyes of a lot of people at the university, including like our athletic director, is see me in a light of maturity that put me on a different level of what a student athlete is. And they looked at me in a sense of just like anybody would. He's mature. He's a mature young man, right? So I started getting these feelings. I was offered to be on, all these different panels at school. I was offered to be, part of Athletes in Action, things that outwardly showing commitment to Elise and marriage that early kind of put me in this area, in this pedestal of like, look at this guy, look how, mature he is, a young African-American male scholarship athlete. He's committed in multiple ways. So that was really cool for me to see. But it also did help me when my dreams didn't come true of playing NFL. It helped build more confidence of, okay, I'm not just football, right? I can do other things. I can be committed to other things. And that was important for me because of my past and thinking that sport was my way out. You know what I'm saying? I owe a lot to Elise and just who she was and the person that she made me fall in love with to become that person, you know what I'm saying? Because now we're living in my parents' basement after the draft, thinking I'm going like at least 3rd to 5th round. Literally, that's my agent's projection. And it's very reasonable at that time. Very reasonable projection. And it goes from that to nothing on the 3rd day. And then the calls stopped coming from my agent. And I told him, he's like, we can go to Canada. This team wants you, that team wants you. And I said, I refuse to go to Canada because I'm just not going to chase the dream like that. And then, so that was a hard pill to swallow, but my faith, for sure, my faith and my relationships, my family were a big part of my ability to kind of cope with that. Really, it was probably one of the hardest things in my life, one of them. But then I slowly started to realize as I went through life that, man, I'm just one of many that went through that. And luckily, the Lord kind of set the stage for me to see myself in a different light, that I was able to, on my own terms, because it was on my own terms, to walk away and not try to chase the dream. Because I see guys now chasing the dream, because that's what I do. I see guys coming in for these workouts. Right. And I hate to say this, in my mind, they coming in thinking, man, I'm about to make the team. I used to be that kid. And in my mind, when I'm warming them up, I'm like, ain't no way this kid about to make this team.
You got it. Yeah.
If I was that kind of person, I'd be like, I don't even need to know his name because I'm not going to see the dude again. He ain't even started workout yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of things kind of protected me from entering that stage of life that I feel like would have been very unhealthy, unproductive, and discouraging for me. So I'm thankful that,
I was going to say overthinking that choice could have put you in some weird circumstances and put you in some weird mental spaces too, where you're overthinking and doubting yourself. And, by, like you said, putting it in your own hands, you were able to keep the confidence, so taking that, kinesiology degree that you have, going and working for Ignition, next thing you know, we're talking about the Olympics. And one of my favorite things about that time of your life was 2 of the 3 kids having the sayings "made in China, born in America," or "made in America, born in China." Like, you know what I'm saying? So talk to me about how the Chinese thing worked out, and we're gonna get into those accolades a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's a humble brag, but go ahead and talk about yourself for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, man. God was really present in that time of my life, for sure. And again, this is one of the things I was gonna say at the end, but man, because life is lived forward but understood backwards, and that's coming from a pastor that I heard. His name is Darius Daniels, by way of a guy named, I don't even know who he is, but Soren Kierkegaard or something like that. But that quote right there is just the epitome for me, that life has to be lived forward but it's understood backwards. And if we can make it through the time in between, like, man, life really does make sense, especially when we apply certain principles to it. But man, I worked at Ignition only for a year. There was four full-time guys there. Ignition is just performance. We did NFL combine training, all that. We trained the Jason Kelseys. We trained the, Connor Barwins, the Devin McCourty, you know what I'm saying? That's your boy. He came through Ignition before the combine. So this was a unbelievable, like, training facility. It was only 4 full-time guys there. One of them went there to China to do a seminar, and one of the coaches, she was an Olympic coach for short track speed skating, which nobody knows of, but they're really good. And I say so good that there's a couple of them who are millionaires on their team. That's how important that sport is. And she's like, how do I get one of the coaches, an American coach here, to coach my team? He came back, said something to all of us, and I was like, heck, they kind of went over my head. Then I was at home with Elise, who is my wife now, at my parents' house, sitting in the basement. And I'm like, man, they said something about somebody going to China if we want to. And she was like, man, that would be kind of cool. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, she always wanted to travel. So let me go talk about it. Let me ask. So long story short, we went through all that process, showed our interest, sent in a resume, did an interview, and we prayed on it. I mean, I'm saying I'm 23 years old. And I'm like, all right, Lord, don't know what you want. Just got this full-time job at Ignition. It's going pretty good. Lord, if you want us to go, then have them call and say, and I don't think it always works this way, but have them call and say, we want you. If they do that, whether we're scared, terrified, miserable, don't believe it, we're going to go. We have to go. Next thing you know, ring, 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 they call, we want you to come. Can you come in 2 weeks? And we're supposed to go on a mission trip. So I'm gone 2 weeks. Elise doesn't come with me for the first 2-3 weeks. I get there and I have to start training these Chinese kids. And I have no idea.
As your friend, I'm 23 at the same time. When I say I was so sick, because we were always hanging out, and like at that time I'm like, we're just out of college, we're good, we're hanging out, we're making lives, you know what I'm saying? I got my daughter at the time, so she would have been 2 or something like that. And we'll talk about that relationship that you have with my daughter too. She loves you so much, by the way, but
she's a great kid.
I was like, you know what? I can't tell you what to do. But how long is it gonna be? What's the time difference? When we gonna talk? Because for the longest time, people don't know this, but like when I was having personal struggles, you was the person I talked to. You were my accountability partner, and and vice versa. And I was gonna feel lost, but it would have been so selfish of me to say, if you go, we ain't gonna be friends no more, or don't go, or I'll never talk to you again. You know what I'm saying? And I was so proud to tell any and everybody that would listen, that's my boy. That's my boy. This is what he does. This is what he does. He's going to China. He's doing this, and the language barriers and stuff like that. How did you guys make it through, and how long were you there for? And like, talk about that process.
Yeah, I'll just put it in a nutshell. But it's hard to put this one in a nutshell though, because it is the turning point of my life, right? It's the turning point that kind of put my career on a trajectory. In a sense, nobody cares about short track here, but there was a lot of personal growth. There was a lot of, really career growth too. But got there, first stint was 3 years. We stayed there for 3 years. The language barrier was a process. We both, me and Elise, we both kind of learned Mandarin pretty well. She learned it better than I did because she actually taught English to the skaters, to the team, and she taught in some banks and all that stuff. So that's what she did when we were in China. So she taught English. I was coaching these kids, and we didn't know it was going to amount to what it did. Man, I ended up going to 2 Olympics with this team, over a span of the 7 years I was kind of with them. And I mean, I went all over the world, traveled all over the world. At the end of the day, I was offered jobs in Japan, which I was able to place somebody from Miami, a friend of mine that I play football. I placed him in Japan to work for that team. He stayed there for like 4 or 5 years, met somebody, got married. So changed his life too. So we talk about one person, somebody stepping outside of a box and being able to spread that tree is unbelievable, man. And it only takes one. But we learned most of the language. God put a young man named Peter. That's not his Chinese name, but he was a coach, and he was a Christian. And he spoke really good English, and I got him to come intern with me and help me. So now when I'm speaking to these athletes like I do every day here, on an emotional level, on a personal level, which is what I'm known for as a coach, even at the NFL level, he was able to translate these words in a way that the coach wasn't able to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it word for word. And that's really how I grew my strong relationship with this team, for them to want to keep me there, and start providing for me when we did have a family and we came back, because we took a 2-year stint, went to Xavier University for 2 years, which was another great job where I met a lot of great friends there too. Had a great 2 years there. We went back to China for 2 more years where we had my second kid. So we took our oldest to China when she was 2, had a second born in Beijing, and then we came home shortly after that. But man, a total of 5 years in Beijing, met a lot of great people, a lot of great athletes, won gold medals, won silver medals to them, which don't matter, which is sad.
I was gonna say humble brag. Give me some numbers.
Okay, I think at the end of the day, I would say we'll put them all together. The 2014 games and the 2018 games. We think we got 3 gold medals, a world record, Olympic record, 4 silver medals, and I would say like 5 bronze medals. So very good, and a bunch of world championships, things like that. But what matters to them is the Olympics. But man, that was just an awesome time for me, and I will explain it this way. I went to the Olympics twice. The year after the Olympics, which is 2018-19 football season with the Rams, went to the Super Bowl. I felt way more, even though we lost the Super Bowl, lost to the Patriots. But
Thank you.
Just imagine going to the Super Bowl, okay? Field goal kick, we beat the Saints because they don't call the pass interference.
Pass interference, yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. We mentioned this, so we ain't got to talk about it. That feeling right there, like we going to the Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah. Not even close to being at the Olympics, watching your athlete win a gold medal. Not even close. And people will probably look at me crazy, but they just don't know. Those kids put in 4 years of not just hard work, but luck is involved, not being injured is involved, surviving the Chinese politics, and being the best in the world. You have to survive all of that for 4 years. Being overtrained, not getting hurt is the biggest hurdle. Surviving the Chinese politics where they pay to have kids placed in front of them to go to the games, whether you're the best or not. On top of being the best in the world, okay? And being 16, 17 years old, being away from your parents, not having the support of your parents, not having all the best food, supplements, sports science, all of that. This is those Chinese kids. And that's why my heart was with them, right? I knew what they weren't getting, and they were still so sweet, such nice kids. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's nothing that beat that. Not a Super Bowl appearance. None of that. It's amazing, bro. That's how cool that experience was.
And you know what? Like I said, it's always a humble brag for me too. Like talking about, what my best friend, I was a groomsman in your wedding when you got married, to be able to say, yo, this is my boy, this is his team. I was rooting for China. I don't think I'll ever say that again. Just because of how our presidents and our politics are. I don't want to have a SWAT team come through my window while we're filming this right now. What'd you say about China? But no, we were all there for you, and you talked briefly about that Super Bowl you lost, but let's talk about coming back to America and reconnecting with Sean that you played with at Miami. How does that work out?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but Sean called me right when he got the job. Elise was pregnant, and we couldn't leave. She was 8 months pregnant. If I left, she could have the baby, but she can't fly out. So we stuck. So I had to deny. I had to say no thank you to the job that he first offered me when he first got the job in 2017. So that was a bummer, and I'm thinking, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do when we get back, but we can't stay in China for another stint, another 4 years until 22, because we don't want to. So I come back, and 2 weeks go by, and maybe an opportunity back at Xavier is available. Ignition wants me to come back, but I know that's not really ideal. And then Sean called me and was like, man, we still got this. Actually, it wasn't even still open. They actually fired somebody, and he wanted me to come back to that position. And next thing you know, again, a week later, I'm in Los Angeles, 3 weeks after, really 2 weeks after we got back from China, not knowing. That was another part of this, just like after the draft, and I didn't get drafted. We on a high, like everything is good, and it's just like, oh, what are we gonna do? This time, we got 2 kids, and we staying at our mama's house.
Right.
And I'm trying to keep it together. Like, man, something's gonna work out. Like, sometimes I feel like I've never been in that spot, but I just think the Lord has never kept me in that spot. And again, I feel like I know a lot of it is perspective, right? Because faith, one of the greatest benefits of faith, true faith in Jesus Christ, is not just salvation, but it's perspective. Yeah. It's perspective, because faith is not a lever to be pulled when you need it. People try to do that and they think it works, and sometimes maybe they feel like it does, but it's a lens, right? It's how you see the world. It's how you see principles. It's how you see things that happen to you. It's how you see circumstances. It's how you see choices. That's the strength of faith, right? And sometimes I don't even think we use it to our full ability, but I know that my faith, it's played, me, my faith has always been my life. Everybody from high school, whatever, they all knew what I was about. Maybe some of it was just because I carried myself, because I didn't cuss, I didn't, I don't know, all the things kids be doing, drink, cuss, smoke, the way I had conversations, whatever. Obviously I'm a good looking dude.
You decent.
But
listen.
Let's get out of the way.
Listen.
Get out of the way.
Calm down, light skin. Calm down. Okay.
But I wasn't utilizing that for any kind of benefit. I had one girl I had my eye on, and that was the one I wanted. So people just knew, and it provided an opportunity for me to then be like, yeah, like that's what I do. I'm a Christian. It's what I believe. You know what I'm saying? And that always, I don't want to say it worked for me, but it works. I don't care. It works because it's the truth, right? So my faith at that point, where I felt like a huge drop, the lens that I had to be able to just be like, okay, all the things that combine, like, remember that I made it out of remedial, like, you know what I'm saying? Like what I did in Miami, the circumstances and how God brought everything together for me to go to China, things that happened in China. Like, I know he's going to take care of me if I just stay faithful right here in this area and not get too down, and I make conscious decisions to just continue to move forward. I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like if I had that faith, I feel like I would have tried to control the situation, and I would have went here real quick. And I would have blocked this blessing over here. You know what I'm saying? Or I would have went right here. Because actually, to be honest with you, I didn't even want to work in the NFL. I didn't. Because I worked with Cincinnati Bengals for a little bit, and I remember when I left there, I was like, NFL ain't for me. Number one, I think I could be there. Number two, I don't really like the dudes there. I feel like they all arrogant. A lot of politics in the strength and conditioning field. I don't want to work in NFL. I don't want to do that.
But I mean, you've been blessed with, great coaching staffs, great teams. Mm-hmm. Being, like you said, with the faithfulness you have, like being put into the right situations, and you guys lose the Super Bowl to the Patriots. By the way, one of the most boring Super Bowls I've ever watched. I would much rather trade that one and let you guys win if I could get the undefeated season. I would take the undefeated season and trade it for that game, because that game was the boringest Super Bowl I ever watched. I almost fell asleep. Not gonna lie. One of the strongest teams. I was scared. I thought y'all were gonna win, and we had a personal moment that morning. I tried to call, and I'm sure you were getting ready, but I knew I was going to get your voicemail, and I left one of the dopest voicemails. I wish I still had it. Just getting you hyped, getting me hyping, to be your friend, be proud of you, but also be a competitor as a fan. And, we've always been fans of that, right? But then things start like moving and like shifting and whatnot. And then next thing you know, you're in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
What took you from the West Coast to the East Coast?
I mean, obviously this is a business, right? So I could have been in LA forever. This wasn't like I got let go or whatever like that. We actually just had a change above me that after a year I wasn't real comfortable with. And then on top of that, another battle I hit was when that guy left, they wanted me to be the head strength coach, but I didn't have a master's degree. So now I'm like, all right, here we go again. Just because I didn't get a master's degree, I'm not smart enough. Like, I can't do this. Like, getting down on myself. But they offered to pay for my master's, this and that. Ultimately, I did not get hired because I couldn't. But I wasn't high on the change there. And then there was opportunity here in Philadelphia, which really came down to this. It's an opportunity, a lateral move, but an opportunity for me to be closer to home. So Philadelphia is a lot closer to Ohio than California. And we haven't been home in so long at this point. Like, we've been away for essentially 10 years from Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? That's at that point, 4 years ago almost. So now it's like, hey, we can get closer to Cincinnati where people can visit us more. We can go home if we need to, not just fly 5 of us from LA, spend $6,000 on flights. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of decision I made. It didn't really have to do with teams, because really Philadelphia was not good at the time. They didn't make the playoffs or nothing, right? And we had just made the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl the next year. The Rams. So this was not a decision based on talent or of my career, solely based on what I felt like the least needed at the time, what my kids would have, the decision they would have wanted me to make if they were old enough to make, to get closer to home and be closer to grandparents and cousins and not just be so isolated like we had been already. Career was great. Obviously, everybody was excited, but it was time to just try to get back home a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
That's a real grown-up decision, because I mean, for a decade plus, she was yes dear, I'm going with you, I'm trusting and everything. And even though it's not all the way home, like that was a smart move for not only for you, for her, but like for the kids, like you said. And it actually made it, because I think seeing you face to face today, I think the last time I've seen you in person was 3 years ago, and before that was probably about 4 or 5 years before that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, I know your parents and your siblings see you, but like, there's a lot of people around here that miss the influence. And like I said, like, by making it closer, that makes it easier for us to come. I almost thought about calling you and saying, yo, get me some WrestleMania tickets, but I'm not sitting outside in 48-degree weather for 4 hours to watch, The Rock. I watched it on TV, it was great.
You would be mad at me right now. You probably, if you could reach to the phone, you probably choke me out. I kid you not. All right, here's my story.
Please. Ooh.
Sorry, bro. Number one, I didn't know what WrestleMania was. Like, I didn't know that was like the Super Bowl of, these guys dressing in tights and stuff like that. But
y'all wear tights too. Shut up.
The Rock came in here to work out, right? And they told me, and I just got home from California. Like, I haven't really been with the family that much, whatever. So around, and I called Lise. And Lise is like, or I just told her, like, The Rock's supposed to be coming, but I'm just about to come back home. I'm about to come home. She's like, Are you crazy? Are you serious? You need to stay. And I was like, to be honest with you, like, I'd rather see my kids right now than to wait around for somebody that I don't know. To be honest, I thought he was gonna come in here and just kind of be like kind of a jerk, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to work out, like no. But come to my attention after they all met him, like he was a real nice guy. And like took pictures with him. Like you would be proud. He's a real good dude, apparently, man. So
I mean, and that's great. That's all well and good. Here's the problem.
I'm not starstruck, bro. I'm not starstruck.
Neither am I, except for John Cena, The Rock, and CM Punk. And
you said that, I was like, now this was Denzel coming through here, and I'm about to get some philosophical, stuff. Then it's on. I'm staying till like midnight if I need to.
No, you're not.
For The Rock, I mean, he cool. I see him on TV every day.
Yeah, whatever.
No, you've been bad. That was like 2 days ago, for real. 3 days ago.
Bro, shut up. How was it though? Did you get to see him yourself?
Nah, I left. Wanted to go see the kids.
But Elise said you're crazy. You have to stay. Why don't you listen to your wife?
I didn't stay.
Happy wife, happy life.
My kids knew. They knew too. They're like, you're not gonna stay. I was like, I want to see you. And Zoe's like, oh, you love us. So
whatever.
That means so much more. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, you're just the best, perfect dad of all time. So proud of you. I would have stayed for The Rock, dog. I would have stayed for The Rock. I would have called my wife, told her to come in, bring the kids. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing it.
Remember, I don't watch wrestling, so like I'm not like.
But you watch movies.
I know, but I mean, I just got back from LA. I've seen it. I don't know, man.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. Like when I say I don't fangirl, like, obviously this is a very specific situation that I did not realize was gonna come back to bite me on the back end when I name dropped, said person. But like the way you carry yourself and your humbleness and your it is what it is. It's every day. You've had the chance to work with people like Aaron Donald and Dominic Sue and Cooper Kupp. You've worked with Jalen Hurts now, and you guys got Saquon in there now. I heard I don't know personally, but I heard he's an animal in the weight room. Tell me what's that like when you're the one that's pushing the envelope and putting these guys out there and setting them up for success every Sunday.
Man, those guys come in, as long as we can keep their mindsets right and educate them. That's the big thing at this level. They all come in as specimens, man. And some of them like to work out. Some of them are weight room guys. Some of them are not, right? But our thing here is that we can educate them like they've never been educated before, because in college, they're always just told what to do. Do it. But at this level, and rightfully so, how you should always do it, just like anything, and this applies to life. When you know why something is benefiting you, and how to get the edge, because really that's what it is for them. How do I get this edge? Because everybody's good, everybody's fast, everybody's strong. How do I get this edge? We have to educate them scientifically on why this is good for you, why you should be doing this. We don't really have the ability to be like, just do it, like do this, or we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So we have the ability through our education, through our experience to get them to buy in through educating these guys, making them smarter, making them smarter about their bodies, their nutritional health, their recovery, all of those things. So we're in there, we're in the room, lifting them, we're writing their programs, we're doing all those things for them. But really it's about the relationship that you build, because you have to have a relationship to get these guys to continue to push themselves in an environment where they don't want to always be pushed. It's hard to lift. It's hard to do these things, especially when you don't always enjoy it. But when you know why, when you know what the benefit is that you're going to get from it, because you're being educated the right way, that's going to encourage you to do the hard things, right? And it's just like life. When you know why we're not supposed to do this, or why we should live this principle out and not worry about instant, gratification, and maybe delayed gratification is okay, because this is the result down the road. When you're educated in a sense, you're more apt to do it than when you're just told to do it. The older we gotta know why, and the better educated we are, the better it makes sense. The more and more we're apt to do it. That's why, again, to take this even more the thread that I'm cut from, like when it comes to the word, like the more we understand, the more apt we are to follow what the word says. It's not just do it because you don't want to go to hell or do it because not like the older we get, the more we're able to really understand why.
Right.
And why it's more reason than the demand. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I mean, I've heard it said that, you know, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So, you know, information and education and like, you know, having the knack for it is one of the most lucrative and most valuable things, you know. So I like the way you put that, and like, you know, having that concept. And you know, we're not going to dive into too many details because you've never been a name dropper. I'm the one doing all the name dropping here. But we're gonna do one last little segment, and then I'm gonna ask you one last question. We're gonna walk it out because I know you're a busy man, and I don't want to take too much of your time because this could end up being the longest episode. We just talk forever.
we gotta do part
two. We're gonna do a little speed round, okay? It's gonna be something simple. You know, in all your years being on the road, whether it's China, whether it's LA, whether it's Philly, what was your favorite city to go and see on the road?
Favorite city. Hey, Drew. You know.
Okay, fine. Separate it into three. In your time in China, what was your favorite travel trip? In your time in LA, what was your favorite road trip? Since you've been in Philly, what's been your favorite road trip?
Okay. When I was in China, the city, Corinth, Italy was really nice.
Okay.
Beautiful. Maybe it was a time of year or two. But just everything around there just seems like you was walking in one of those painted pictures.
Okay.
And it was a beautiful city. And I don't even think that's the best city there, but I think it's called Turin, Italy. Now, where else did you say?
So when you were with the Rams, what was your favorite road trip while you were with them?
Probably went to Colorado.
Go to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really tough? Like for real, like they say with like the mile high, like the breathing and everything like that. Yeah. Like, do you guys train throughout the week with like less air pressure and like stuff like that?
We actually went there because we were supposed to go to Mexico, which the elevation is a little bit higher there too. But we trained there for like a week before we were supposed to play in Mexico. We ended up not playing. If you remember that week, we were supposed to play the Chiefs in Mexico. Mm-hmm. That guy, Shakira, had a live concert there, and the grass was all messed up. So we ended up playing in LA against the Chiefs, and that's the same time that we had the shooting at a bar. So there was a shooting at the bar in LA, and then the Chiefs we're supposed to play. So, but when we went to Colorado, that's just a memorable trip for me, just because it was, again, another beautiful city that I'm not used to. You don't really want to go somewhere cold. It's free. Like, I ain't pay for it. All the stuff that we do, you know what I'm saying? So that was nice. But, and I know I'm probably missing some stuff, but that time I just remember.
Okay. What do you remember about road trips in Philly?
So Philly, man, to be honest with you, I'm just going to keep it 100. The first time that I had a game here in Philly, I realized what NFL football actually is like, because, you know, in LA, even being at the Super Bowl, it's an event, right? It's not like live and people really cheering for their teams. It's a bunch of people that can buy tickets, those expensive tickets, and it's just an event to be at. LA, they don't really have fans. It's just an event. Okay. Right. And there were some good games at the Coliseum, but when I got to a game here in Philly, like a night game, them fans are unbelievable, man. And they love sports here. They love football here. People find out that I work for the Eagles, like it's over. Both good, but you know what I'm saying? So like there's just a night that I remember. I forget who we was playing, but man, I was just like, man, this city is crazy for football. It's crazy.
Okay. So either team, either the Rams or Eagles. Who is one of the most impressive players you've played against that you got to watch?
Justin Jeffries.
And why was that?
Is it Jeffries or Jeffrey?
Wait, are you talking about like
that I coach to go against?
That you've had to play against.
Yeah, Justin Jeffries.
Most impressive. I would have thought you would have said like Christian McCaffrey or like
Nah.
Justin Jeffries was one of the most impressive people you've seen live?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, okay. Other than the GOAT, Tom Brady himself.
Remember, I'm a wide receiver. So
You said what?
I'm a wide receiver, man, at heart. So I'm watching them. You know, like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, they were the first two people that made me realize I did not belong in the NFL.
Bro, Coop is something else. I remember one time I called you and I was like, yo, or I text you like, yo, is Coop playing today? He's like, I can't tell you that. I'm like, bro, he's on my fantasy team, man. Give me something. You ain't say a word. I ended up sitting him. He started, and I think he scored like 2 touchdowns. And I was so mad.
I'm gonna get fired.
Yeah, well, you know what? And I'm proud of you for having integrity. But I've been your friend since the year of our Lord 1999. So come on now.
I'm not good at these lightning rounds, bro.
Okay.
Questions I'm horrible at.
All right. Two more. Other than the GOAT, Tom Brady, best quarterback you've got to watch live.
Jalen Hurts. Because I see him.
That's the most politically correct answer you could possibly give. He is a monster though.
You wanna know why? Because I see him daily, in and out, and I know what he does daily.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
It's crazy to think what's going to happen with Saquon in the backfield now.
Go look at his stats.
Oh no! Trust me, I had him on my fantasy team this past year. I didn't call you for nothing. Don't worry, I left it alone. But no, he's been a monster. You know, being pulled out of the game at Alabama for Tua, he still left and went to Oklahoma and beasted there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's been a monster. Like, you know, he just has that pedigree. And, you know, he's a winner.
I mean, I seen Patrick Mahomes too.
I
just don't like the way he walked, but he good though. But he got Andy Reid, so
he does have Andy Reid.
Now we're getting too real. I gotta. Yeah.
Okay, last one, and it can't be an Eagle. Best defensive player you've seen play live.
Oh, AD, Aaron Donald.
He's a specimen.
Yeah,
he's a specimen. He's probably one of those guys that you call like a weight room guy, yeah.
Oh yeah, yes he is.
Just in there working.
And they're working.
Yeah. When was the last time you had a chance to talk to him?
After he retired.
Like right afterwards, like congratulations.
Well, I was just through text message, yeah. But other than that, it was just right after the Super Bowl. I told him he was proud for giving glory to God. After that, it kind of gave me chills. Because I used to work with AD like 45 minutes every Sunday, just like soft tissue work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was actually handed to me. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who left. I got that opportunity to work with him before games, which was really cool. But you know, when you're in the moment, remember I came from China. I didn't know nothing about football anymore. So when I'm working with AD, I don't really know who AD is. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really starstruck. I didn't really know. I've been not watching football for 7 years. But that was really cool. But yeah, he is unbelievable. You have to double team him. Like he's unbelievable. I was so proud of him for retiring when he should have too. So
yeah, man. Well, one last question, or two questions, but number one, if you could say anything to anybody, if they're still listening, they're still paying attention, still watching, you know, what's one thing you would say?
Man, to be honest, you know, and I'll again try to bear with me because y'all might have left already because I don't know how person I am, but your spiritual life is the most important thing in life, man, because you know the enemy will. Remember, I'm a trainer, so like if you have back pain, maybe you know this, Drew. If you have back pain, what would a trainer say? What's weak? Your back hurts. What should you work on?
Probably work on your legs.
Your legs and
work on your core, yep.
Okay, work on your core. Imagine your core is your spirituality, and essentially it is your core, okay? Your spiritual life is your core. If you keep on chasing the pain, which is in your back, or the pain that's somewhere else, but you aren't strengthening your core, you're missing out on what you really should be strengthening in order to fix the problem. A lot of it, so you might be chasing financial issues or career issues or relational issues, whatever issues that it might be, and you're chasing those specific pains, but that pain actually comes from your spiritual life because of your perspectives are off, or the principles that you're trying to chase are off, or you're not following it. One of the things that I would like to say, and maybe this was what I should say, because we talked about this. Information is not transformation. And again, I got this from Darius Daniels. Information is not transformation. So many times we hear a quote or a Bible scripture or something that might motivate us. And just because we hear it and agree to it and it touches us and it motivates us, we think that we're actually doing it. We think that we actually made a change because we like that quote. But we're not really going through those steps. There's no change in our life because we're not really doing what that quote says. But we believe we are because I can quote it. I believe that I am because I like the quote, but we're not really being transformed and doing what that quote actually says. You know what I'm saying? So your spiritual life is way more important. This should be number one. Don't chase just the pain. Go to what the real problem is. Be accountable and understand that's what it is. Information, not transformation. All the books you read, all the quotes, all that stuff don't really mean anything unless you're actually doing it. So that's what I would say.
You know, it's wild. I don't even know when this episode is going to release. I wanted to do it now, before you got real busy, before the season, everything like that. You know, and I just hope that when it does drop, you know, someone hears that part. That's why when I get to the end of every episode, I say, if you're still here, what would you say to the people? There's a reason why you've been my friend for 25 plus years. Someone I see as a brother, you know, and why, like I said, I'm talking to people that I'm a fan of, the people I admire. And, you know, you've been top tier since the day I met you. And other than that one day with the headband, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Part two, bruh.
No, one last thing I gotta say though is, you know, I know you're a very busy person. You know, you got the draft coming up, you got OTAs coming up and everything like that. So I appreciate you taking the time out. And, you know, whatever happens this season, you know, I wish y'all the best. I know you're going to be the best team in the NFC East because Dallas can't do nothing no matter what they try to do. And the Giants, I mean, we'll talk to Saquon about that later. But like, all jokes aside though, man, I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you so much, because today I made the choice to talk to Dustin Woods, and the circumstances, we out.